Hello everyone, hope you're having an excellent day today. I'm doing pretty great. We're back with another TRON update video. We have a lot of progress to cover and a lot of progress yet to achieve. Let's go ahead and get started. The first thing I want to talk about is this building here, formerly known as the Wave Building. I think it kind of still has a little bit of wave, but it's not quite as distinct as it was before. This building has been completely rebuilt since the last TRON update, and then modified again after another convention. That's how long it's been since we last did one of these. I feel really bad about that. But no, I think that this building still looks great. It definitely has a different appearance, of course. It's not so linear. It's a lot more staggered, stair-step kind of thing going on here. It's gotten rid of all those annoying IKEA lights, and it's way stronger than it was before. I think I can give you an example. Just kind of toss it, no problem. No stability issues whatsoever. This will make it, and has made it, to several conventions nearby, no problem. The one modification I had to do afterwards was because it was slightly too tall, and it was having difficulty fitting upright in our big rental vehicles. So I had to bring it down, I think about 5 bricks to make it a little bit shorter. It doesn't change the appearance that much. I think it actually helps it to be just a little bit less gargantuan. So pretty happy with this. It only took a couple days. Going to be moving on to other buildings now because I consider this one 100% done. The next building I want to talk about is the bridge building, which is still very much the bridge building. Hasn't changed as much as the previous one, not a total rebuild. I will say it was still about 50% of a rebuild because we have this other half here, which has been top to bottom redone. This side, I'm still perfectly happy with this frontal appearance of this part here. This one had to change, not because it looked bad or because it didn't hold up, but because it was facing the wrong direction and it was kind of hard to see behind the other building. Now everything's angled towards the front, and I think it works a lot better. With those necessary changes done, I also consider this building 100% done. No more changes needed. That's how I want it to be. And there's still more changes left to be done, of course. On my last video, I talked about all the little things that need to be fixed, kind of knocking them out as I go, as I can between conventions. This one here, the, what did I call this one? The Cube building. It's inspired by the Truist Plaza in Atlanta, the Atlanta building, we'll call it that. It's had some big changes as well. Here you can see a more almost grid or stud-like pattern, pixelated, that's the word I'm searching for, pixelated pattern here on the front. I think it really helps sell the kind of cube, square vibe this building is going for. I think it'll also have a better contrast when it's placed next to the gigantic angular building. I still need to add a few more sides to it. I've got 1 wire of lights going through, therefore 100 lights in this right now. So you got 2 sides and opposite sides completed pretty much. There's some tiles that need to go on this side. But these other 2 sides still need to be filled in. It would just take another spool of lights. I have several more lying around and a lot more tiles, and thankfully I have both of those things. So once I've decided on a nice pattern to put in there, I'll fill it in, put the lights in, and it should look fantastic. I would also consider this building done once those 2 sides are finished. Speaking of the tiles, I've got the bin of them right here. This is almost as many tiles as I ordered when I first started making the road and the other buildings way back at the beginning of this project. So this should be plenty enough tiles to finish off everything else I want to accomplish in the world of TRON. The last major element I want to talk about is this triangle building, which we've had since the beginning, basically. One of the first buildings I started work on. And while I have absolutely no problem with its outward appearance, I think that this building surprised me at how structurally unsound it ended up being. I thought this one would be fine. I actually think on my last video I described it as, I think it'll be just fine. I think it's sturdy enough. However, this is the worst one as far as structural stability. These corners separate very easily. I actually just broke right as I was kind of messing with it. And it was kind of a nightmare moving it back and forth in the past 2 conventions, which is really not ideal when you're trying to make it as sturdy and modular as possible. So this is going to need a lot of rework as far as the inside. I'm not going to change the outward appearance too much. This front is basically perfect. A few minor changes over here if I'm already rebuilding everything completely. I've learned I don't need the big transparent base plates after all, and I can use pretty much pure Lego, so I'll be able to be 100% purist again. So that's a plus, and it will probably be a lot lighter, stronger, and much easier to move once I rebuild it. However, I don't have time to redo this one before the next show, which is actually in just a couple of days right now as I'm filming this. it should be coming out while I'm actually there. So yeah, always interrupted from finishing this build with each show that I go to, but at least it's kind of evolving in steps as I'm able to work on it. Once those changes are done, I'll consider this building complete, but this is a lot more work than the other builds have been. I think it'll take me a little bit longer. It's worth mentioning the top section of that building will also have the same treatment. Total rework on the inside. The outside should theoretically look very similar. This one, it wasn't as bad as the big one. However, it's only because it's not as heavy and large. The smaller size made it a little bit more sturdy, but it's still not as strong as it should be. And I think that with some clever building, I can actually get this to fit modularly inside the other one and make it really convenient to pack. So the day before we went to our last convention in Orlando, which went very well, by the way, Steven was telling me, Mark, you gotta have some vehicles in your Tron build. It really needs a little extra something. And I said to him, yes, Steven, I completely agree. It's part of the plan. I just don't have time to create those before we go. And Steven was like, well, I don't got anything going on the next couple of days. I'll make them. I'm like, all right, if you're sure, if you want to. He did a great job in like 24 hours. He made a couple recognizers, some very cool Tron ships with battery packs and lights. They look pretty good. He also detailed up some of the landscape a little bit, so that's nice. I think I'll have very few changes to make there as the build moves on, so really appreciate my brother chipping in and helping. I'm not calling this a collab yet though, because I will probably do some reworks here and there as I'm able. So I have a couple Tron vehicles, at least as placeholders, until I'm able to actually spend some time working on larger vehicles and ships to go in the scene. I really want to see some tanks in there at some point too. So moving forward, we're going to be finishing up the square cube building, the Truist Plaza inspired building, finishing up those two panels before we go to the show. Going to have to survive one more trip with this bad boy over here. And then once we get back from that Nashville convention, we'll theoretically have a couple weeks till we go to Tampa, where I can hopefully fix that one, just focus solely on that building. And then all the buildings that have been built to this point will be complete, structurally sound, easy to move, and I can kind of move forward with more buildings, more vehicles, and finishing this up for next year. We got a whole slew of conventions planned. We're looking forward to Atlanta BrickCon and possibly BrickWorld specifically. And I think that's about it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Appreciate you guys keeping track of this Tron build. Looking forward to its completion. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.